Greetings, Earthlings. My name is Zero Jake, and welcome back to Space Engineers, where in the previous episode we created a shuttlecraft that could transport materials from the surface to orbit and vice versa. Well, mainly vice versa, because we've got ores that go to the supply station and they need to come down here to our lovely new refinery bay. I made this in between last episode and this one. It's got a load of refineries, all with yield modules. It was very expensive, but it does mean that we should be able to get a lot of ore refined and in very high efficiencies. Now, today we're going to be doing something not necessary, but I feel like it's going to be a fun exercise. We're going to have a railgun, and we're going to stick it on top of one of our defense towers. But it's not just going to be facing in one direction, no. We're going to be using the custom turret controller and rotor and hinge in order to move it around, so that we can, pop in a control station and control it with our mouse, or have an AI control it instead. Now, before we get started, I'm going to want to make a couple of revisions to the base of this tower so that we can get everything sorted. Okay, so pretty drastic change. Yeah, shut up, my energy is low. So, first things first. We're going to need... No, not the railgun, that's not yet. We're going to need the advanced rotor. Why advanced? Because we want it to be able to pass items through. So let's go get ourselves some steel. Place that down here. And then we'll just quickly add that to the build planner, grab the items, weld it up. Right, so first things aesthetic-wise is we need a rotary base on top of this rotor, so that it's a platform that spins around, so that when we've got the railgun itself, it doesn't look like it's out of place. So let me build that up, and we'll go back in a second. Okay, so now that we've got the rotor base done, or at the very least done as far as I'm willing to go until this is functional, now it's time to add the hinge, the second part. So we currently have a rotor that can allow us 360-degree view from the horizontal, and now the hinge is going to allow us to point the gun up and down, or at the very least down to 90 degrees at the very least. So we're going to want to increase the height of this due to the placement of the railgun's conveyor port. Let's grab all those items. We're going to use the conveyor pipe from one of the DLC just so that it looks a bit neater. When we place the hinge on top, we're going to place the hinge so that it's facing. Is there a difference? Can I tell a difference? Okay, so that is the forward angle. Good. We've placed that correctly. So let's get back to the hinge. Right, so we want the lower limit to be 0 and the upper limit to be 90. We're also going to want some braking torque equal to the amount of torque we're currently doing, so let's get that roughly there. Next, we're going to want to set up the conveyors, like so. Don't think I've got enough interior plates for this. I don't, curses. Right, let's get that. And then we can simply get the railgun and place it like so. So, the railgun is currently facing upwards. It needs to face along with the hinge when you've placed it, and its center of rotation is this this section here instead of where its connector point is. Yeah, so the rotation center is here, which means that it will pivot from here and kind of pivot in this kind of angle. Just use your imagination to imagine it pivoting. Yes. I don't know what I'm going through at the moment. We'll place some armor blocks to make this look a bit neater in a second, but we should get the railgun working first. Okay, there we go. We have constructed the railgun itself. Looking very snazzy. Now all we need to do is get it working. So, under here, because there is no other place for us to do this, and we might as well do it here, we're going to get ourselves our custom controller. Or custom turret controller. We're going to place it here. We'll have maybe some access port that allows you to get into this bunker kind of area, but we're just going to build this up. I'm also, for the sake of testing, going to place an armor block here, and on top of it I'm going to place a helm. Right. Let's weld that up. Okay, so in the custom turret controller, we're going to want to set up some things. So let's first of all change this name. So we want this to be Railgun Southwest controller. So if we type in Railgun, we can see that all four of these are part of the Railgun Southwest naming branch. We've got the Railgun itself, we've got the rotor, and the hinge. So in the controller, we are going to want to select the azimuth rotor, which is the rotor. We want to select the elevation rotor, which is the hinge. And we want to select an assigned camera. We'll do that in a second. And then we want to add this as the tool. / weapon. We can turn on the AI, the aiming radius can only go up to 800, so we can't use the railgun to fire stupidly far just yet, but we will have some things to help with that. Enable target locking, all good. Right, last thing we need to do before we can actually use this properly is we want to select, well, we want to set up our camera. So, I'm going to work on making this look better in the future, but for now, just so that we can get it working, stick a camera here. Now we're going to want it so that it's facing like this, face the camera like so, fires out of the center. What the? No, I can't place the camera there. That would have been useful if I could. Instead, we'll just have it on the side. Right, now that we've got that set up, let's go back in here, let's find that camera. Railgun, Southwest camera. Right, set that as the camera for this. Excellent. And then, once we enter our little helm, we should be able to go to Railgun, select the controller, and we should be able to find the control button somewhere. Or alternatively, we need to add it to the list. There we go. And so, once we hit control, we will now be viewing out of the camera, which is not placed correctly. Let me fix that. Okay, right. There we go. Fixed. So we now have our railgun. And we can now move it using the mouse look. Ooh, so good. We can also zoom in using the camera so that we've got a better picture of what we're looking at. We can eye on to the horizontal. I don't think anything's in the way, so this shouldn't be hitting things. But we can now shoot at things to our heart's content. Now the only problem is... yeah, there we go. So we do have a maximum aiming angle that we can get, which is 90 degrees. That's for good reason. I might make it a bit taller. Well, a bit more so you can bend backwards, maybe like 120 degrees. But if we go grab our camera, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to hit, no, F8, yes, yes. And then what I want is F9. Yeah, there we go. And as you can see, I'm going to use the arrow keys. Well, actually, I can move this properly. This is what it looks like. Now, we want to be careful when doing this because you can see that sparks are lining up on the hinge itself. And if we go check, the hinge might be damaged at the moment. No, okay, they were just weird sparks. Excellent. So we are going to set up some armor plating, and I'll do that before I end the episode. But we're going to want to test this thing. Firstly, we're going to need some ammunition. So let's go to the system, which I'm currently out of range of for some reason. There we go. For some reason being, it's on the other side of the base. I should really set the antenna up in the center. Go to production, and we're going to want to create our Sabbath rounds. Ah, there we go. Large. I can't read, that's why. So we should have the resources for that to start producing. And then, well, we're going to want a target, right? So I'm going to go and browse my workshop and see if I've got anything suitable. Alright, we've got ourselves a target. There's a red ship that's just jumped into the sector. Let's go beat it up, because that's what we do these days. Hop into the helm. Take control. Narrow in on the target, and... oh, yeah, I need to put... oh, no, we are in control. Fire! Fire? There we go. We've taken out one of their ion engines. Let's see if we can get it to collapse. Where are you hovering up at this point? We're making a noise. Ah, yeah, we've now designated it as a target. Fire the second round? Perhaps? Ah, yes, railguns have a very long recharge time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into here, we're going to set the controller to target AI, or rather, turn on the AI, and target neutrals. This surely isn't going to backfire. We then get out, and the railgun should just be auto-targeting, presumably. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No? No? Are you not going to perform for me today? Are you going to be disappointing? Alright, controller. Hello. Okay, you're targeting things. Oh, your aiming radius needs to be higher. There we go. So the red ship is at the edge of the aiming radius, that's why it wasn't working previously. But now, once the railgun is fully charged, and I believe it's got something close to a minute in terms of recharge time. Yeah, a minute worth of recharge time. So we've got ourselves a railgun. It will protect us against ships, or at the very least deal some oppressive fire whilst our turrets deal with anything else that they're throwing at us. And what we can do is we can go into the settings of the controller and say, hey, we want you to target something specific. So let's say we want you to target their power systems. So it's going to rotate. I should probably... There we go. It's going to continue targeting that for the next few minutes. Let's go back to the controller. Now, we do not want the controller to be zip-zapping everywhere in terms of how fast it's going. Modify maximum velocity of azimuth rotor. 1. Also 1. Can you go negative? Right. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is I'm going to pilot the red ship and have it fly around to see how fast the, well, the railgun does things. Right, we'll maneuver over to here. I'll go back over to our railgun. I need to test the velocity of the... Well, I need to test its turning rate, because we do not want it to snap to target. That's not what we want. So if we hop in here and get ourselves like this, we take control, move like this. No, move like this. Right, mouse look is going to be really slow, but then we get out, and this is how fast the turret will move. Nice. I think we can increase the speed at which that's going. So let's increase that to probably 2. See how that's useful. So we're going to move it away, and then we're going to get out, and then it's going to automatically track its target. Yes, that works for me. Cool. So we can set those conditions to every other railgun that we build, because I'll be building more. We might get away with having 8 railguns, and then the center turrets... Another option that we could do is we could build another turret section in the middle of these diagonal walls, and then we've got even more point defense. And of course there are other guns available. We might want to build artillery turrets as well as the railgun itself. We could strap on some additional turrets to this railgun. I'm just going to let that shoot at the red ship until it's destroyed. Okay, there we go. I have finished the design of the harness around, or rather the structure around the railgun. Let's slow things down so that you can get a better look. We've got our regular conveyor going in, and then we've got some armor blocks around it. And on the other side, we've got some pillars with a conveyor that is just sitting there. There's actually a gap between these two. They're not part of the same grid, just so that it can rotate on the same axis and, you know, look like it's doing it properly. We've then got some warfare batteries, which are batteries but with the warfare skin, so that we can retain charge even if our power generation is offline. Noting that only this small building over here houses our sole large reactor. We will get to increased power as soon as our power requirements dictate. And I will create probably 3 more. We don't want to go overboard. We want more kinds of weapons than just railguns. So I was thinking that this one here and then the other 2 on the other side would house railguns, and then we can have these corner sections here. Yeah, we've got 8 corners because we're an 8-sided object. They can have artillery turrets or something similar to that, but not railguns, because otherwise we'll have 8 railguns and murderize capital ships in the first volley and then have nothing else firing that's of any impact. Now, these railguns can only go up to 2,000 meters, so 2 kilometers, which is not enough to get up to the orbital station. However, if we install weapon core, that increases the range to 5,000. So it allows this lunar base to provide ground support to the lunar orbit station. So if it gets attacked by an enemy capital ship, well, the capital ship will be taking fire from our railguns, which is pretty neat. But I'll get building those railguns in between sessions, probably when I can't be bothered to do anything else. Don't expect them to be here at the beginning of next episode, because I don't know, I want to take my time in building out this base. But until next time, my name has been Zero Jake. End transmission.